you buy two properties. One you live in, and one will be income generating, and that's the big word over here. It generates income for you. If you are a landlord, if you're a homeowner, if you are thinking about selling your home or upgrading, when's a good time?
I still have a bit of faith with the government. They manage the supply and demand as per their data lah. They have the data. Why? Because they know roughly how many new citizens they're going to bring in, right? Hi everyone, I'm Edison and I have been a real estate agent for 7 years now. This is my full time, and so that's why I'm here with this very young man, very wise man, and hope this session can help everyone out.
Hi, I'm Charlie. Welcome to our first podcast together. So in 2023, end of Q3, the outlook was private sales were up 0.8%, HDB was down 1.3%, Singapore's September inflation rate was 3%, and the volume for resale dropped basically by 18%. What do you think, Edison? What do you think where the market is going to go to? How do you think where you think it will land, and more importantly, what would be your investment strategy moving into this market?
I think in the overall scheme of things, we can see that since volume has dropped and prices haven't dropped, right? That means that a lot of owners are still holding on to their high prices. And if they hold on to their high prices any longer, the likelihood is that there will be no buyers for them, lesser and lesser buyers for these high-priced homes. And eventually, some who are more urgent or desperate may want to reduce a little bit of their asking prices by Q4 or Q1 next year. That's how I see. Again, this is just a guess or a prediction.
But next year's volume, and one of the things contributing to the more inventory in the market and the price slump is also that there were release. This 2023 released a lot of brand new homes. A lot of people got the keys from this year, about 15,000 homes.
Yeah.
So, but next year and the year after that, the number of homes will be less, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
In fact, the numbers will be a lot less. So you think that prices will go up next year or not go up? Or where do you think prices are headed towards? If you are a landlord, if you're a homeowner, if you are thinking about selling your home or upgrading, when's a good time?
I think that, like you rightly mentioned as well, there are a lot of new projects that just TOP this year. I mean, to name a few, you have Normanton Park with about 1,500 to 1,700 units. Yeah, then you have a Treasure at Tampines, 2,200. Then you have Avenue South. You have the Florence Residences, and these are all the OCR projects that will take up a lot of the rental demand. That means people who used to wait for the new houses, right? Hey, my house is ready already. Hey, I can leave my rental tenancy away and then I can go and move into my new houses. So that also is one of the signs that we see that the demand has fallen versus the supply, right? Yeah, and looking at all these things, I'm a tenant myself. So I signed my lease about 6 months ago. Now I will be like hitting myself, slapping myself, like, hey, why couldn't you wait another 6 months? Now you go in, right, you don't have to pay 4,003, you can pay 3,008, you can offer 3,009, you may be able to get your house, at this kind of prices.
So would it be better to take a position in the real estate market next year as opposed to this year?
I think for us, in Singapore, there are two ways developers can get land, right? First one is through government land sale, you go and tender and bid for it. Second one, you go to en bloc like Mandarin Gardens and all these projects, old ones, and then try to buy over and then top up the lease and renew. So the government, I still have a bit of faith with the government. They manage the supply and demand as per their data lah. They have the data. Why? Because they know roughly how many new citizens they're going to bring in, right? They know how many new PRs they're going to give out, right? So using this information, they hopefully are able to find that fine balance between supply and demand and keep our real estate market very healthy lah, as per what our top leaders are saying right now. So what to answer your question, is it a good time, bad time? I don't think there's ever a good time. Some people like to say, hey, the best time to buy was yesterday. I think you still have to do some research lah. You need your agent to advise you properly with data.
That is always the case. The biggest and only regret in real estate is always I should have bought more yesterday, or I should have bought yesterday. It's always yesterday. Yesterday was always the best time to purchase a flat. It's never tomorrow, or But yesterday becomes very quickly. Today becomes very quickly yesterday. Tomorrow. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, just like yourself, right? If you had bought something 20, 30 years ago versus if you buy something 10 years ago, the prices did jump quite a bit every 10 years.
So here's a $64 million question for you.
Wow. Okay.
Why are you still a tenant then?
I am a tenant because I bought a new project. I bought a new product.
Which one did you buy?
It's called Copper at Newton. So it's at Newton Food Centre, just opposite the Newton Food Centre. And why am I renting now? Because at that point of time,
hasn't TOP'd yet.
No, it just TOP last week. So I've gotten the keys 1-2 weeks ago.
Right.
Doing the defect checks now. But then I realized that because I bought it at a very high risk period, it was the start of the COVID CCB the circuit breaker.
Right.
So no one knew what was going to happen in the next 1-2 years, and then I was very afraid as well. Everybody was afraid. And what if my income stops for the next 2 years? Can I still afford this house? So in the end, eventually bought a small unit that I don't think I can house my family in. Decided to rent it out. So if you have any potential tenants who want to live near ACS and SJI for their primary school needs, right? Then I'm very happy to talk to them.
So your strategy for moving into real estate is basically is already TOP. You're not going to move into your current unit, but you're going to actually rent it out. Why?
Yeah. The thing is, when I bought it, right, I saw the potential. Land bid was low. And then even though it was a 99-year GLS inside that freehold enclave, right, there were certain signs in my research, right, that showed that the 99-year condos could do as well as the freehold condos in that segment.
How much did you pay for it in 2021?
PSF was 2200 around there.
And what is when was the last transacted price of this place?
Now maybe 2425. Yeah, around there.
So your strategy is basically to rent it out for more money than you're paying rent.
Yes, of course. But at the same time, because I'm not living in District 9 and Corporate Newton is at District 9, the PSF for rent is different as well.
Yeah.
However, the Corporate Newton idea was to, because it's an investment, right? You can choose to let go of it or liquidate it at your preferred timing, right, instead of some own stay property where it's very hard to, inflexible lah, more inflexible.
Is this strategy going to continue after your lease runs out now? Or are you ever going to move into this place, or
no, never. I don't think I'll ever move into this place. Yeah, because that's not where I grew up in, and I grew up in the District 20. So
are you planning on buying a new one?
If I can afford it, as much as we can, I want to go in as early as possible. Yeah. With that strategies that agents always talk about, the decoupling lah, the 99-1 and all that stuff. I think it still works to certain extent.
We're not going to cover that today.
Yeah, well, of course we're not going to cover that today, but these are things that have been taught by gurus.
CA going to call you and me and check OP. No, thank you.
Yeah,
we're not going to talk 99-1 for not today.
Correct,
not ever.
Yes.
So very interesting. Barker Road, ACS, that's what you're talking about, right? Because it's District 9.
We have ACS, Barker is moving out, right? So we have
in
ACS
2030.
Yeah.
So what happens after that? Well, does it make sense for you, for people to buy District 9 right now, knowing that Barker Road is moving, Barker Road ACS is going to move out? Is that a good strategy to invest in District 9?
Yeah, I think it's a two-pronged answer, right? Because not everybody will have kids and not everybody will have sons. Because we have people with daughters, right? Then they may not want to move in directly within the vicinity of ACS. Even if ACS moves out, we still have SJI and we have I think ACS Junior there. Unfortunately, you need to have boys lah. If you want girls, then you got to move a little bit downwards towards the Nanyang and the SCGS.
Yeah. But District 9 will always be evergreen, especially for the Newton area. The prices there will always have a demand, a natural demand for it, just because of its proximity to town. It's a stone's throw away. It's a walking distance from Orchard Road, basically one MRT station from Dhoby Ghaut.
Exactly. Same for you as well, right? Your District 9 property will give you more rental than somewhere in 20 or 19.
I am very happy because I just signed my lease today at a 40% increase in rent.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, that's really
40%.
insane. No complaints. Very, very happy with it. Super duper happy.
The wife also very happy, right?
Everyone's happy. I'm happy. Yeah, except for the tenant, they're not so happy. So.
But they have no prior comparison. Is it the same tenant paying that 40% increase?
It's a different tenant.
Yeah.
But right now, even like 40% is actually, it's like 15% below what my neighbors were asking. But I'm just thrilled that it's 40% above. You see.
Yeah.
And I kind of figured that the rental market will remain soft for the next couple of months, simply because so many units came online, i.e., Benton Park and so on and so forth. These came online, so I don't want to be in a position where I'm caught, with a hot potato on my hand, and it says, "Oh my goodness, everyone's rented out, and I've not rented out my place for 4 or 5 months." No, I say, get it out slightly lower. That's fine. Just get it out and put it out in the market. So the empty months that I would have spent on finding a tenant that will pay my price, when you amortize that over a 2-year rental period, it kind of pays off.
Yeah.
So 2024, 2025, so on paper, we're going to see a lot less people getting their keys in 2024 and 2025, simply because those were COVID years. So what I mean by that, 2021, 2022, the government released a lot less land because of COVID. They didn't know where it was going to go, whether it was going to stick around. So this year we had a bumper crop of very new projects all coming online because people were rushing and trying to get whatever was on hand to finish up as quickly as possible. So this year we saw an insane amount of real estate coming into the market, condos, people getting their keys.
Yeah.
But 2024 will be a different story. 2024, because they didn't sell a lot of land in 2021, in 2022 it slowed down. So we're going to see a lot less keys. But coupled with a fairly high interest rate, and possibly another 2 more rounds, at least what the Fed say may or may not happen, of increasing interest rates. How do you think next year's market is going to be?
I think that just now I did talk a little bit about new citizens and the new PRs entering the market. Traditionally, if you talk, we have small talk around our friends, relatives, and circles, right? The moment PRs turn citizens, they will do one thing. They will go and buy property. Yeah, so if you have the data, right, MOM or the ICA, every year how many new PRs they bring in and how many new citizens they convert, right? These are your demand. Apart from all the natural how many million Singaporeans now? 3.8, 3.6 Singaporeans. These guys are already trying to upgrade, It's like how can I say it? Maybe like a rat race. Singaporeans, they love the real estate. They like to upgrade themselves from HDB, move to condo, from condo move to landed. I think that's the dream of every Singaporean that passed through, regardless of age. So the demand is going to be always there. Supply-wise, if it's lower than previous years, we're going to have a problem. So the government, if they see something happening in the supply region, they just release more land. They have so many reserve sites, right, and residential sites, Marina Bay you got a lot of Bay Shore homes coming up. Tanglin Halt, 5,000 over HDB flats going to be built in an integrated hub. So I think it's going to be healthy. And if you look around the world right now, chaotic, right, all these conflicts happening around, a lot of people actually value Singapore as a very safe haven. So a lot of people want to come in.
Yeah, but 60% ABSD, sell.
They don't have to be. Some people, I saw some transactions happening, right? Past few months, there were people who pay 60% to stay.
It has dropped tremendously.
For sure.
So the argument here, so the argument here is this: while the foreigners are coming in, and we had a statistic just I think last month where the government told us basically, hey, just in the past year alone, our population increased by 5%. 5% in 1 year. That's an insane number. 5% in 1 year.
Yep.
So now our population is 5.9 million.
Yep.
And a lot of them are, people on employment passes, and as well as newfound citizens, newly minted citizens. So the question here is this: most of the demand that drives demand basically is still locals. Agree that the foreigners will come in and prop the price up, but how about the locals? Will the price be propped up by only the foreigners, or the locals will also keep pushing demand and pushing the price up?
Great point. I think around our circle of friends or my age, those people who
not mine.
Yeah, people around my age, those who are applying for BTOs or their BTOs have just shift MOP periods. They are sitting on, for the new flats, they're sitting on 300K for a 4-room flat. They're sitting on 500K profit, gross profit on a 5-room flat. So when they sell off their HDB, what do they do? The natural progression is they go and buy a private property. Then what kind of private property they buy? Typically speaking, agents out there or maybe my friends out there will look at new homes because they know that, hey, I built my first pot of gold on the HDB already. Hey, I go try my luck on my second pot of gold on the private, and most of the time this works quite well for a lot of them. So new homes, actually, new condos now, Treasure lah, the Florence residences that just TOP. Actually, you look at them, right? A lot of them sold their HDB to enter these new projects. A lot of them are HDB upgraders. My observation and my experience, because I have buyers who bought Treasure. All of them are HDB upgraders.
So basically, you're talking about the condo upgraders. We're not short of them. There will still be a large. There will be a large pool, especially these couple of years. There will be a lot of HDB reaching MOP.
Yep.
And especially this year, there was a huge bumper crop of people who reach MOP. Not all of them have sold, but they still have the option of selling it over the next couple of years. And you think that a lot of them will like, hey, let's go into a condo, because in the long run, condo makes a little bit more sense in at least keeping up with inflation, because HDB prices are kind of artificially kept low because the government needs to allow housing to be affordable for everyone. So, exactly. But that's another topic. We'll talk about that another time.
Exactly. I think during lunch we talked about it as well. My parents' HDB flat, right, from 2013 to 2023, in the span of 10 years, didn't grow in value. It didn't grow in value at all. So how is their asset, right, the most expensive asset that they have in their lifetime, supporting their retirement?
Then it doesn't make sense. Edison, it really doesn't make sense. Then there's so many people talking about $1 million HDB. Then there's no congruency in the story. $1 million HDBs versus what you just said about a lot of houses not appreciating. How do you connect this to ideas?
I think on facts, data has shown that in Singapore, the most expensive HDB town is Queenstown. And then the second most expensive HDB town is, if I'm not wrong, Bishan.
Right.
So
let's give us context. Where do your parents live in?
Ang Mo Kio.
Okay,
yeah. So Ang Mo Kio is not the most expensive HDB town because a lot of the majority of the flats.
Lee Hsien Loong in his National Day speech gave an example, about Ang Mo Kio. So
yeah, a lot of renewal, rejuvenation. Ang Mo Kio always gets the goodies first, right? The nice bicycle tracks lah, the parks and the gardens lah, and stuff like that. But unfortunately, the ones that make the $1 million profits or the $1 million flats come from 5-year-old flats, 10-year-old flats, 15-year-old flats, right?
And jumbo flats and
jumbo and EMs law, executive mansionettes and the executive apartments, which are huge lah.
Which Ang Mo Kio doesn't have.
Very little. Yeah, so very little. Ang Mo Kio doesn't have that many million-dollar flats. But actually, in fact, every town has million-dollar flats already lah. Now you can see.
What,
Even
5
Yishun,
towns?
yeah, Yishun also has a million-dollar flat because it's a what? I think it's a what do you call that? The conjoined apartments, right? Two units joined together, merged together, and they sell it as one. So eventually,
jumbos,
yeah, eventually, okay lah, you can buy those flats, but make sure you can hold it long, or you must have alternative investment lah. If not, then how is this going to support your retirement? This type of flats.
Yeah, HDB is a little bit difficult to retire. We had this conversation earlier at lunch. We can talk about it later on.
Hey, but Charlie, how about? I think we've known each other for a couple of weeks already.
Right.
Share with me, if you don't mind, your investment strategies when it comes to real estate, because I had an idea it's going to be very good content.
I'm not sure about that. So I'm a fairly new agent. There's no news about, nothing new to that. I've only been an agent for 2 over years, but I've been a real estate investor for more than 20 years. In fact, in the last 20 years, I've only bought real estate. I've never sold any. I've kept buying, but usually when I had some extra spare cash, I'll put it away, and I started, purchasing. I own real estate in Singapore. I own real estate in the US. I own real estate in the Caribbean country called Belize. So that's, I'm not sure if it's still there, but it's been something which I enjoyed. And one of the interesting thing about my investment strategy was this: I knew it as an instinct. I didn't understand the numbers in the past, so I knew that everybody for thousands and thousands of years have built wealth. Tremendous amount of wealth on real estate. So okay, must buy. So it was more of an instinct that I want to go and buy, as opposed to I didn't understand the numbers behind it. So like everybody else, everyone's stuck at home during COVID, and since my companies are still running, even up to this day in the US, I figured, no, I want to do something with my time. And so I spent a lot of time doing a lot of research and understanding real estate, because I wanted to grow my own portfolio and make it even bigger, because I don't want to start another company. It's too tiring. Another topic and another day.
Yep.
So based on that, I didn't want to, by the way, since now I'm an agent, I can say this: all agents are idiots. And I honestly believe that, because I'm an agent, I'm an idiot. So I can say that. So I wanted to understand real estate, but from an investor point of view, why it made sense. I wanted to understand the numbers. Most agents couldn't explain to me the numbers. Most agents couldn't explain to me the power of leveraging. All they can do is say, must borrow people money, then you can make money. But they couldn't give me the math behind it. And me being who I am, I wanted to know the math. I wanted to know to the decimal point. I wanted to know how you calculate the cents behind it. I wanted to know, hey, if the market go up 2%, what's my portfolio going to look like? Go down 2%, how is it going to look like? And what is the power of leveraging, and so on and so forth. I wanted to know that. And I got those answers, actually. I spent hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 hours just doing those research, writing a lot of PowerPoints nobody would ever read except myself, which I'm fine, because now it helps me build my portfolio. I'm actually very, 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 very bullish on building my portfolio from where it is right now to something a lot bigger. In fact, I've never thought about it, but let's just put it this way: let me 2x my portfolio in 10 years. I think I can do it. So hopefully, I will try and do it. And the cash flow will be a lot more buoyant. So the strategy here is very, very simple. It boils down to the power of borrowing. If you can borrow more, you will make even more money. So thousands of years ago, people borrowed money so they can buy, pieces of land. And when your land prices kept going up, and then you collected rental, you get the cash flow from there, your net worth just grew. So it didn't grow exponentially, like it didn't grow like 20%, 30%. So it didn't grow like 4%, 5% a year as you would, if you were to buy, bonds, or you stick it in CPF. It grew like 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, and so on and so forth. In fact, the money I put into real estate, let's just say 10 years ago, 12 years ago in the US, has roughly every year since then has 1x for me. Whatever money I put in every year, 1x, 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 1x. So from the money I put in then until now, it has literally 12, 13x my money since then.
Wow.
So, and like in the biggest regret in everyone's real estate portfolio here is this: I should have bought more.
Yeah. So what about the agents out there that say, hey, you should pay out your loan as fast as possible? What do you have to say about
Those
that?
are idiots. The real estate agents really should not say that, because I've seen a whole bunch of TikToks on that, and I am so concerned when people say that, because in order to get financial freedom, in order to have some financial stability in life, you really need to understand why it makes sense for you to borrow cleverly and not just borrow just for the sake of borrowing. Now, going to a loan shark, borrowing, that's a terrible idea. Borrowing to go and buy a bag, that's a terrible idea. Borrowing to buy your stupid COE, that's an even worse idea. Seriously. But what's a really good idea is when you are able to leverage, for example, if you leverage at today's bank rates, as I say, is for the sake of argument, it costs you 4%. Let's just say 4%. So your cost of funds is basically 4%. Assuming you buy a piece of real estate, your real estate rents out for 4% a year. That's your rental yield, and then your capital gains is roughly 4%. And these are very easy numbers to hit in Singapore. If it's not difficult to find properties that can give you 4% rental yield and 4% capital gains. So technically speaking, your cost of funds is 4%. What you make from this property is 8%. So you will net 4 from here. So you will net 4 from here from the amount of money that you borrow. So if you borrow $3 million, you'll net an extra 4% of that $3 million. So it's like no-brainer law, so easy to make money law. And this, and what even becomes even more scary is this: it's compound. 笑料 law is bitang law. After 7 8 years, you look at your amount of money you make and it extrapolates. And when you look at your initial funds capital, i.e. your punzi, your base funds, if you had 25% amount, that's your capital, you take this and you deploy into real estate. If you were to look at the numbers, you're literally making roughly around 20% of whatever money you have. So if you leave this amount of money in CPF, you make 2.6, 2.5, 2.6%, whatever the number is. But if you were to take this and deploy into real estate, you make 20% off of that and compound. 笑料 law.
Exactly. Exactly. So how about, very curious to know this, because you're an international investor, how does strength of any country's currency play a part in your decision making? Which country should I buy? Like if you buy US real estate, you're buying in US dollars, you use US dollars to pay, you sell also get US dollars back. In Singapore, you use Singapore dollars, obviously. So how does that help you in your decision making, or it turns you off?
None whatsoever. I don't care about the strength of the currency fluctuations. Currency fluctuations doesn't bother me at all. And the reason for this is very, very simple. Because if it fluctuates 5% this way, it fluctuates 5% that way, I don't care. I do care if you were to buy a piece of property, let's just say in Cape Town, in Durban, in Johannesburg, in South Africa. Because their currency depreciates 6x.
Yep.
So that's insane. So whatever you pay today, it decreases 6x.
Yep.
So those kind of places stay away 100% from. But if you depreciate roughly around where the Singapore currency is, and we know that the government has a international policy where we don't want to deviate too much away from the US dollar, we have a basket of currency that mitigates that. Then you go like, oh, as long as my base currency of investment is in the US, then okay, you go up a bit, then okay, currency gain, but those are the wrong things to look at in terms of investment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The things that you really look at is two things: the ability to borrow and your ability to pay. Nothing else. If the country that you want to buy in, you can get loans for faster, go and buy as many as you can. Your ability to borrow is there. Confirm, go and buy.
Correct.
The next thing, ability to pay, i.e. your cash flow.
Yeah.
Your rental yield versus your versus what you pay out. If that number makes sense to you, then go and buy. Because the rest is easy. What the Americans say, location, location, location. True to some extent, but in my opinion, the two numbers that are serious. You go look at Grant Cardone. You go and look at all the. This guy by the name of Graham Potter, very good YouTuber. I love his channel. They don't talk about location. None of them talk about it. They only talk about basically, hey, how much money I can borrow, and as long as you can lend me this amount of money, I'll go and buy as many real estate as possible. As long as those numbers make sense. Richard Kawasaki is also a huge advocate of that. What is your investment strategy?
For me, I think, like I said, I'm not as established as you, right? But I know that...
Cannot compare.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm way older than you,
Yeah,
so I'm a lot closer to the grave.
So if I may go back to that topic just now, because your strategy is not selling, you don't flip, because some of the gurus out there want ask you to flip your properties every 3, 5, 7 years to make that kind of thing. But if you don't flip, then currency fluctuations don't affect you that much, or rather at all, right? Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. So
the currency doesn't bother me because I know the US dollar will track very closely to the Sing dollar. It has been so for 15, 20 years.
Yep.
It will probably continue to do so. If you were to throw in external factors like the potential war, this and that, if there's war, all of us die. We're all turned into zombies. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yep. So
assuming that we don't go into an apocalypse, it's a non-event.
Correct.
You make money if you can. The question here is can I borrow in USD? If I can borrow in USD, on leola, I'm not going to pay you 100% for it, right? That's all I care. If my cost of funds is cheaper, if I were to borrow Sing dollars and I can convert it into US dollar, then there might be a possibility, but then I will be exposed to currency fluctuation. But if I borrow in USD and I buy in USD, I don't care.
Yeah, correct. Understand.
Local, what do you think is a good local strategy for local people who wants to flip?
Today, for sure, number one, because of the ABSD restrictions, government wants to curb us from buying too many. You have to give everybody an equal chance to own a house, So a lot of Singaporeans now, including myself, we cannot we cannot join in, buy our first one, then join in, buy our second one. It wouldn't make sense financially because of the additional tax imposed on us, the duty imposed on us, right? Then you have to split your names, So a lot of the people or our clients, they all join in, buy together. After that, they decouple the next one with the better income, go and buy their second property for investment. I think this is becoming more and more commonplace. But the caveat is obviously you need to have both working and you need to have income.
And the reason why people decouple and the reason why people buy two properties is simply because of their ability to borrow becomes a lot bigger when it's two as opposed to one. So if you buy one, you might not max out your loan. It gives you, you buy two properties. One you live in, and one will be income generating, and that's the big word over here. It generates income for you. You buy one property, you don't generate income from that. You only can hope for capital appreciation. In Warren Buffett's words, he doesn't believe in real estate because it's not income generating. There's nobody that goes out there to make money for you. So he doesn't like real estate, even though he's bought a whole bunch of real estate property portfolio, but it's not on physical buildings itself. It's on businesses, service businesses.
Yep.
So that's why people want to decouple. That's why people want to buy separately as husband and wife. In terms of Singapore, real estate, would I be wrong to say that?
Yeah, I think it's correct. They want to maximize their loan, but at the same time, Singaporeans being cautious, sometimes they don't want to stretch it all the way to the maximum of their TDSR capabilities. The market is not going up forever, right? There will be times like next year where the market will start to slow down. So Singaporeans are going to be cautious as well. There's been retrenchments going on through companies or MNCs in Singapore as well. So we are going through a rough patch now, but we will see what happens next year lah. Because with a lot of conflicts around the world right now.